I spent 15 years of my life chasing one dream, soccer. I lived it, I breathed it, I literally gave up everything for it. I traveled the world for it, I played in college, I signed my first professional contract in 2021, and I built my entire identity around it. And then, after all, one day, I decided to walk away. People think quitting means failure. People think you weren't good enough, or you didn't try hard enough, or someone broke you. But for me, quitting soccer wasn't a failure at all. It was actually the beginning of everything, and probably the best decision I've ever made. So this is the story of a kid that grew up in Argentina, gave up everything for soccer and personal development, and decided to quit soccer one day to build a business. I grew up in Argentina with my mom and my sister. My parents were divorced since the moment I was 1 year old, and my mom did literally everything she could to keep our family together. We didn't have much, to be honest. It was really tough to get to the end of the month with money, and sometimes we didn't even have enough to buy food. But one thing that I can tell you is that she gave us love, and she did everything she could for us to have everything we needed. On the weekends, I would go visit my dad's side of the family. It was an amazing life. It was everything I ever wanted. But instead of getting jealous, for some reason, that was the first time that I was getting exposed to a future that I wanted for myself, and that was the first time that I got motivated to get that for myself in the future. I started playing soccer when I was 5, and I fell in love with it right away. I still play soccer, and I'm now 25 years old, so fast forward 20 years, it's still my passion. When I was 11 years old, I broke my arm, and I couldn't train or play soccer for at least 1 year. It was a really tough time in my life, and I actually gained a lot of weight. Because I gained a lot of weight, when I came back to soccer, I wasn't able to make that transition from 5v5 to 11-a-side. That was not tough at the moment because I didn't know what I was going through, but it was really tough to be out of shape. It was something that I wasn't happy with myself. Some of my friends made fun of me. I actually wasn't happy with my reality at all. Until one day, I don't remember how it happened, but someone said something like, if you work out and eat better, you can lose weight. And it seems obvious for a lot of people now, but back then I honestly had no idea about it. I didn't know that I had control over the way I looked. So as soon as I heard that, I decided to make a change. I decided to go to run every single day of that summer, and I remember that I didn't miss one day. I had so much pain from being out of shape that itself pushed me to go every single day. After 3 months, no one recognized me. I was extremely skinny. I'll be completely honest, I didn't do the right diet. I was eating very unhealthy. I was probably eating like 1,000 calories a day. It was absolutely terrible, but I was very, very disciplined. And that was the first ever time that I tasted discipline in my life. And that's the moment that I realized that if I did certain things, I could achieve certain goals. And I think that's the moment that really transformed a lot of things in my life. Around 2017, my dad and his family told me that they were moving to the United States. At the moment, it was one of the hardest decisions that I ever made, but I knew that I had to make a change in my life. I knew that if I wanted to be very successful, this was a great opportunity for me, and I couldn't let it pass. I had to leave my friends, I had to leave my mom, I had to leave my sister, I had to pretty much live the life that I was living at to that point. I had to leave Argentina. So I decided to finish high school in Argentina, and in 2018, I moved to the United States. At the moment, I didn't know it, but that was gonna be the hardest year of my life. That year was the moment that I felt most alone in my life. Think of going from Argentina, a very social country, to living in the United States, in New Jersey, alone, without friends, without soccer, without even knowing the language. I just focused on learning English because I knew it was possible. I knew that if I gave up everything in life just to study English, I was gonna be able to do it. So that's what I did. I had to prepare for an exam that was called SAT. It's an exam that you need in order to get into college. At the time, I thought getting into college was the answer. I didn't have the education to do something else, but I studied for the SAT for about 8 months. And I remember on a random Monday of 2018, I was told that my mom had cancer. That was very tough, but I never thought anything could happen for it. So I couldn't go any earlier than Sunday because I had to do the exam on Saturday, the exam that I was preparing for so long. So I booked my flight for Sunday, and as I was studying on a Thursday night at 3 a.m. because I used to wake up super early, my dad walked into the room and told me that my mom had passed away. That was by far the hardest time of my life. I remember that day as like, I just thought I lost everything. You usually have these thoughts growing up of like, wow, I could never live with that person. I could never keep moving forward without her. And the reality is that my mom for me was everything. And that was by far the hardest thing that ever happened in my life because again, I never thought I could keep moving forward without her. And that was by far the hardest challenge in my life so far. So I was told by everybody that I had to leave that Thursday to Argentina, or that Friday, just to go see my sister and just to be with my friends. But instead of going that Friday, I kept Sunday for my flight, and I decided to do the exam on Saturday. That was the sort of discipline that I had at the moment. I really wanted to achieve my goals, and I really wanted to be successful in life, and at the moment I thought college was success. So I took the exam and I flew to Argentina that Sunday. I spent like 3 months in Argentina, and then I came back. In February of 2019, after spending 3 months in Argentina with my friends, I came back to the United States and I received the grade for the exam. It was a 1250, which was better than all my siblings and way better than most people expected from me. I remember my mom's brother telling me in the funeral that I had to become a professional footballer now, because that's what she would want for me. So as soon as I got recruited to play college soccer, I set a goal to become a professional footballer. Not to try, not to see how it goes, I was actually going to make it happen. In 2021, I got an opportunity to train with Getafe B, which at the moment for me was huge. So I moved to Spain and I lived there for about a year. I was chasing tryouts, I was chasing a contract. I just wanted to do anything in my power to become a professional footballer. Spending a year in Spain trying to sign a professional contract seems easy, but it was probably another one of the hardest years of my life. I was literally doing everything to sign a professional contract, and it was hard because I didn't have the visa. There were a lot of things that went against me, but I just kept moving forward and I kept trying. In 2022, I got an opportunity to go sign my first professional contract in the Faroe Islands. I think it was like 12 Americans and 3 Argentinians that were going on trial, and I decided to be one of those. I went to this country in the middle of nowhere called the Faroe Islands, and after 2 to 3 weeks of tryouts, I signed my first professional contract. I thought I made it. I posted on Instagram and people went crazy. I got so many comments. I was finally that person that everybody wanted me to be. I was finally that professional soccer player. I had that title, and at the moment it felt good until it didn't. I wasn't happy. I wasn't fulfilled. I knew it wasn't gonna take me to my goals in life, and the worst part is that I couldn't admit it. Imagine chasing something for 15 years, giving your absolute everything, showing yourself as a professional footballer, and 4 months after, you know that it's not what you want to do and you want to quit. But I always put myself first, and I ask myself one question: what if I put all this effort that I'm putting towards soccer towards something else? And that made it click. That made me realize that I had to make a change. I cut my professional contract after 4 months in the middle of the Faroe Islands, and I decided to travel back to the United States because I got an opportunity to play with Inter Miami 2, which at the moment was a really good opportunity for me. I could be in the United States and see how that felt rather than in the middle of nowhere, because maybe it was the fact that I wasn't enjoying it because of the country that I was in. Well, I spent 3 months in Miami and I decided to finally quit. As I was playing this whole time in Spain, in Faroe Islands, in Miami, I was studying remotely. So in May of that year, 2023, I graduated from marketing with 3.9 GPA. However, college didn't help me achieve anything. I followed what everybody told me: go to college, get a job, be successful. I did go to college. I did the complete opposite because I didn't want to get a job, but college didn't help me achieve anything, and getting a job for the goals I had wasn't going to help me either. So I decided to start my own business. Right after I graduated from college in 2023, I started a custom shin guard business. It was my first ever e-commerce. I had around $6,000 to $7,000 in my bank account, and I decided to invest all that money into equipment, into a machine that was going to help me make custom shin guards, into a laptop, and also into all the materials that I needed to make the shin guards. I was good at graphic design, so my goal was to put that graphic design into shin guards and make custom shin guards for soccer players. I thought it was a sick idea, and I thought that it could sell very well. I built a website, I built the social media, and I started growing the brand. The brand started to grow really, really fast, and that year we closed at $100,000 in sales. For me, that was amazing. I felt rich. I felt like I had more control than ever over my future, and I just wanted to be an entrepreneur. During that year, as I was running my e-commerce, one friend of mine told me, "Hey bro, can you run my social media? I'll pay you $250 a month." I took it. For me, that was amazing. And that $250 a month transformed everything. After 1 to 2 months, I signed my second client for $450 a month, and that was the beginning of the agency. However, it was not all easy. I had 2 businesses, and I knew that if I wanted to really be successful, I couldn't do 2 things. I knew that everything that I put focus towards grew, and if I put focus towards both, I was definitely hurting both instead of really growing one of them. So I decided to shut down Talento, which was my e-commerce. I said, I can't do both. I really want to grow mine, and that's what I did. That was probably another one of the hardest decisions that I ever made, but also the best ones. It happened a lot in my life that every time I had a hard decision in front of me, it took me a bit too long to make the decision, but once I made the decision, it didn't take too long for me to realize that that was the greatest decision I've made. And it happened at least 3 to 4 times in my life with big decisions. So once I stopped focusing on talent and I put all my focus towards the agency, we We grew from 1 employee to 8 employees, and now we have a business that does over $100,000 a month, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. We often think that making $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, 30, 40, 50 is everything we want, and we think that that's success. But we are in the United States. That's a very small business. If you really want to achieve your goals, you can't have the standards of $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, because that can go away in a minute. I'm at $100,000 a month, and I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I don't see that as my money. I see that as the business money, and I want to keep scaling. I already went through the phase that I purchased things for myself. I already went through the phase of the materialistic stuff. The reality is that none of that matters. And once you actually start focusing on developing yourself and developing your business, that's when you really feel the success. That's when you really feel how far you can go. So yeah, right now we're a team of 8 people, and I also have a second business which is called Talento with a 3, but this time I started that business as a passion project with 2 partners in New York City, and we are building one of the biggest street soccer communities in New York City. It's 3v3, it's really cool, and I think you guys should check it out. If there's one thing my story proves, is that you are allowed to change your dreams. You're allowed to make decisions. You're allowed to take control over your life. You shouldn't be doing what everybody else tells you, and as long as you know that you can achieve your goals, you should go all in with that. It's gonna take a little bit of selfishness, it's gonna take a little bit of too much focus on yourself and too much discipline and hard work, but if you really believe you can get somewhere, then you're gonna take the necessary action and you're gonna get the results that you always wanted and more. I can tell you that quitting soccer wasn't a failure. It was by far the best decision that I ever made. I stopped chasing what others wanted for my future, and I started chasing what I wanted for my future. And I still play soccer. I love soccer. I play not every afternoon, but I try to play as much as I can. One of my businesses is related to soccer, and I can tell you that it's still a passion of mine, but it's not everything for me. I now love business more than soccer because it's helping me develop as a better human being, and it's helping me achieve goals that I never thought were possible. People often say that your dream should stay the same forever, and that if you quit, you're a loser. The reality is that it takes balls to quit something that you know it's not for you, even if you have done it for a very long time, and that your passion doesn't have to be your job. Sometimes it's just not meant for you. A lot of people say turn your passion into your job, and I think that's bullshit. You have to do what you're good at and what you can become successful at. And the reality is that I was always very good at soccer. I still consider myself a really good soccer player, but I knew that that wasn't the future for me. I knew that I had to do something different, and because I knew that, I took the necessary action to get where I am today. And again, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I know that I will be soon. So I hope my story inspires you. I hope it gives you some sort of value, and I hope it helps you achieve your goals, because I can tell you one thing: if you really believe you can achieve something and you really know it's the right thing, you should go all into that, because in the end you're going to be successful. You're going to be, and you're going to sound a little bit delusional at the beginning, but that's okay. As long as you know that it's the right path, just go for it.